For over 7 decades, Clint Eastwood has been Hollywood's ultimate enigma, the man with few words but an iron will that bent an entire industry to his vision. At 94, the legendary actor and director has lived through the golden age of cinema, witnessed the rise and fall of countless stars, and directed some of the most iconic films in movie history. But behind those piercing eyes and that trademark squint lies a vault of secrets, grudges, and professional feuds that have simmered in silence for generations. Today, we finally unveil the truth about the 5 actors who earned Clint Eastwood's deepest contempt: stories of betrayal, ego clashes, and professional rivalries that nearly destroyed careers and changed the course of Hollywood forever. In a candid interview that shocked the entertainment industry, Clint Eastwood, a man notorious for his discretion and professionalism, finally opened up about the actors who tested his legendary patience. For someone who built his reputation on discipline, punctuality, and no-nonsense filmmaking, these revelations cut deeper than any movie role ever could. The confession came during what many believed would be a routine promotional interview for his latest directorial work. But when the conversation shifted to his experiences working with difficult personalities, something in Eastwood's demeanor changed. The usual measured responses gave way to raw honesty, and for the first time in decades, Hollywood's most reserved icon let his guard down. "You know," Eastwood said, his voice carrying the weight of decades, "in this business, you work with all kinds of people. Some become lifelong friends, others teach you valuable lessons about human nature." The way he paused, the slight tightening around his eyes, it was clear, these weren't just professional disagreements. These were personal affronts to a man who valued integrity above all else. What followed was a masterclass in controlled fury, as Eastwood methodically dismantled the reputations of 5 actors whose behavior had crossed lines that even Hollywood's most tolerant figure couldn't overlook. Each name he mentioned sent shockwaves through the industry, revealing decades-old feuds that had been carefully hidden from public view. The interview room fell silent as Eastwood continued, his words measured but loaded with an intensity that reminded everyone present why he had commanded respect for so long. These weren't the ramblings of a bitter old man, they were the calculated assessments of a legend who had finally decided that some truths were too important to take to the grave. The first name on Eastwood's list sent ripples through cinema history itself. During the filming of the iconic Dollars trilogy, tensions ran higher than the scorching Almeria sun. While Eastwood won't name names directly from this era, industry insiders have long whispered about a particular co-star whose ego proved as vast as the Spanish landscapes they filmed in. There was this one actor, Eastwood recalled, his voice dropping to that familiar rasp, who thought being in a Sergio Leone film made him Marlon Brando overnight. The guy would show up hours late, demand script changes and treat the crew like his personal servants. The description matched several accounts from crew members who worked on the good, the bad, and the ugly. What made this betrayal particularly painful was how it threatened to derail what would become one of cinema's greatest trilogies. Leone, already struggling with language barriers and a limited budget, found himself mediating between his rising star and an actor whose unprofessionalism bordered on sabotage. Eastwood watched in frustration as precious shooting time evaporated due to one man's selfishness. The breaking point came during the famous cemetery shootout scene, after multiple takes were ruined by this actor's inability to remember his marks. Eastwood reportedly pulled Leone aside. "Either he goes, or I do," the future legend declared. It was a gamble that could have ended his career before it truly began. But Eastwood's integrity wouldn't allow him to compromise on the project's quality. The resolution came swiftly, but quietly. The problematic actor found his role significantly reduced in post-production, his scenes either cut or relegated to background moments. Eastwood never worked with him again, and when asked about the experience decades later, his response was characteristically terse: "Some people aren't built for this business." The second name on Eastwood's list represents one of Hollywood's most carefully guarded secrets: a feud with a major star that began during the height of both their careers and continued to simmer for decades. While Eastwood maintains his characteristic discretion about specific details, the story that emerges is one of professional jealousy, personal betrayal, and a clash of egos that nearly destroyed a multi-million-dollar production. This particular actor had everything handed to him on a silver platter, Eastwood revealed, a rare note of bitterness creeping into his voice. Studio backing, publicity machine, the whole 9 yards. But when it came time to actually work, to show up and be professional, that's where we had problems. The description painted a picture of Hollywood royalty whose privilege had corrupted their work ethic. The incident that sparked their eternal animosity occurred during the filming of a Western that both were attached to star in. According to sources close to the production, this unnamed actor arrived on set with an entourage that rivaled a small army, demanded his trailer be positioned to block Eastwood's view of the desert, and insisted on script rewrites that would give him more screen time at Eastwood's expense. But it was what happened during a critical action sequence that sealed their mutual hatred. When a stunt went wrong and a crew member was injured, this actor reportedly showed more concern for his makeup than the injured person's well-being. Eastwood, who had always prided himself on looking out for his crew, was appalled by such callous indifference. "That's when I knew what kind of man he really was," Eastwood stated, his jaw tightening at the memory. All the talent in the world doesn't excuse having no soul. The film was eventually completed, but the two stars maintained such animosity that they refused to be photographed together during promotion, leading to one of Hollywood's most awkward marketing campaigns. Third, on Eastwood's list is an actor whose commitment to method acting transformed from dedication into destructive obsession. While Eastwood has always respected actors who fully immerse themselves in their roles, this particular performer crossed every line of professional courtesy and common decency in pursuit of what he called authentic characterization. Method acting is one thing, Eastwood explained, his tone conveying decades of frustration. But when your method involves terrorizing the cast and crew, disrupting every scene, and refusing to break character even when people are getting hurt, that's not art. That's selfishness disguised as dedication. The criticism cut deep. Coming from a director known for his efficiency and respect for everyone on set, the production in question became legendary within Hollywood circles for all the wrong reasons. This method actor, determined to inhabit his character completely, began showing up to the set in character weeks before filming began. He would refuse to answer to his real name, insisted on being addressed by his character's title, and created elaborate backstories that had nothing to do with the actual script. What started as eccentric behavior quickly escalated into something far more sinister. The actor began staying in character during breaks, mealtimes, and even during safety meetings. When his character was supposed to be antagonistic toward Eastwood's character, the actor began treating Eastwood with genuine hostility, turning what should have been professional collaboration into personal warfare. The final straw came when this actor's method put other performers at genuine risk during a particularly intense scene. Instead of following the carefully choreographed fight sequence, he began improvising violent actions that could have seriously injured his scene partners. When Eastwood intervened to protect his fellow actors, the method performer accused him of destroying the artistic integrity of the moment. "I've worked with some real professionals who used method techniques," Eastwood concluded. "But this guy was just using it as an excuse to be an asshole." The fourth actor on Eastwood's notorious list represents perhaps the most painful betrayal of a performer whose undeniable talent was overshadowed by behavior so demanding and destructive that it nearly ended their professional relationship before it began. This was an actor Eastwood had specifically requested for a project, someone whose reputation for excellence preceded them, making their ultimate conduct all the more disappointing. "I actually fought to get this person cast," Eastwood admitted, shaking his head at the memory. "Their previous work was incredible, and I thought they would bring something special to the role. Little did I know that behind all that talent was someone who treated filmmaking like their personal kingdom and everyone else like peasants." The revelation showed how even Eastwood's usually impeccable judgment could be clouded by artistic admiration. From day one of production, this actor's demands began escalating beyond anything the veteran crew had experienced. Special dietary requirements that changed daily, a trailer that needed to be redecorated weekly, and a demand that no one make eye contact unless specifically invited to do so. While Hollywood is no stranger to diva behavior, this performer elevated it to an art form that bordered on the absurd. But it was the